Well, greetings everybody. Happy Saturday. From the Free Thought Project. The FOIA docs show CIA Pentagon made 1,800 movies, TV shows to make America love war. Okay. Hollywood magic doesn't percolate only in the minds of legendary producers and acclaimed directors to be brought to life on the big and television screens, where actors' adept performances capture our imaginations. Rather, if the plot pertains to the military, it's more than likely that the Department of Defense had a hand in the script. From Meet the Parents and America's Got Talent to Cupcake Wars and Zero Dark 30, even Iron Man, Oprah, Patriot Games, and the James Bond thriller Tomorrow Never Dies. If the production pertains to the war machine or surveillance state, it's a veritable guarantee government significantly influence the final product. Censorship apparently reigns more supremely over Hollywood than we'd ever surmised. Nearly 1,800 movies and TV shows have borne the fierce scrutiny of the eagle-eyed Pentagon and CIA. It may be better known how the Pentagon consults with Hollywood to ensure accurate portrayal of chains of command, military culture, proper use of equipment, and other obvious factors. But the DOD, it turns out, might as well pen the script. And, in many cases, that's exactly what happens. When applicable, films and television series must be rubber-stamped by the government. No seal of approval, no production. Quotes. If there are characters, action, or dialogue that the DOD don't approve of, then the filmmaker has to make changes to accommodate the military's demands. Wow. If they refuse, then the Pentagon packs up its toys and goes home. To obtain full cooperation, the producers have to sign contracts. These contracts are called Production Assistance Agreements, which lock them into using a military-approved version of the script. Now, from Insurgintelligence, exclusive documents expose how Hollywood promotes war on behalf of the Pentagon, CIA, and NSA. Okay, that's Plato's Cave reimagined for the Hollywood era. That's what this is. Alrighty. Tom Secker and Matthew Alford report on their astonishing findings from trawling through thousands of new U.S. military and intelligence documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act. The documents reveal for the first time that the vast scale of U.S. government control in Hollywood, including the ability to manipulate scripts or even prevent films too critical of the Pentagon from being made, not to mention influencing some of the most popular film franchises in recent years. This raises new questions, not only about the way censorship works in the modern entertainment industry, but also about Hollywood's little-known role as a propaganda machine for the U.S. national security apparatus. When we first looked at the relationship between politics, film, and television at the turn of the 21st century, we accepted the consensus opinion that a small office at the Pentagon had, on request, assisted the production of around 200 movies throughout the history of modern media, with minimal input on the scripts. How ignorant we were. More appropriately, how misled we have been. We have recently acquired 4,000 new pages of documents from the Pentagon and the CIA through the Freedom of Information Act. For us, these documents were the final nail in the coffin. These documents for the first time demonstrate that the U.S. government has worked behind the scenes on over 800 major movies and more than 1,000 TV titles. Now you know why the television and the movies are all predictive programming. They're making you love the idea of war. They're glamorizing it. They're glorifying it. When in real life, all wars are based on lies. Let's continue. The previous best estimate in a dry academic book way back in 2005 was that the Pentagon had worked on less than 600 films and an unspecified handful of television shows. The CIA's role was assumed to be just a dozen or so productions until very good books by Tricia Jenkins and Simon Wilmets were published in 2016. But even then, they missed or underplayed important cases, including Charlie Wilson's War and Meet the Parents. Okay, there's a picture of John Voight in this scene just after American troops have been attacked by a deception robot. Pentagon Hollywood liaison Phil Shrub inserted the line, "Bring 'em home," granting the military a protective, paternalistic quality, when in reality, the DOD does quite the opposite. Alongside the massive scale of these operations, our new book, National Security Cinema, details how U.S. government involvement also includes script rewrites on some of the biggest and most popular films, including James Bond, the Transformers franchise, and movies from the Marvel and DC cinematic universes. A similar influence is exerted over military-supported TV. Alright? Military-supported TV. Which ranges from Hawaii Five-0. Huh. Okay. America's Got Talent. Oprah. Huh. Oprah. Okay. Jay Leno. To Cupcake Wars. Gosh. Along with the numerous documentaries by PBS, the History Channel, and the BBC. National Security Cinema also reveals how dozens of films and TV shows have been supported and influenced by the CIA, including the James Bond adventure Thunderball, the Tom Clancy thriller Patriot Games, and more recent films, including Meet the Parents and Salt. The CIA even helped to make an episode of Top Chef that was okay. Maybe the CIA didn't like that episode of Top Chef because the Top Chef was not using GMO food. I don't know. That was hosted at Langley, featuring then CIA Director Leon Panetti, who was shown as having to skip dessert to attend to vital business. Was this scene real, or was it a dramatic statement for the cameras? I think it was a dramatic statement myself. Oh, and this one? James Bond and Domino are rescued via a plane and skyhook that was loaned to the production by CIA front company Intermountain Aviation Thunderball. Ooh. right. The military's political censorship of Hollywood. When a writer or producer approaches the Pentagon and asks for access to military assets to help make their film, they have to submit their script to the Entertainment Liaison offices for vetting. Ultimately, the man with the final say is Phil Shrub, the Department of Defense Chief Hollywood Liaison. If there are characters, action, or dialogue that the DOD don't approve of, then the filmmaker has to make changes to accommodate the military's demands. Again, alright? If they refuse, then the Pentagon has a little hissy fit and packs up their toys and goes home. God. To obtain full cooperation, the producers have to sign contracts, production assistance agreements, which lock them into using a military-approved version of the script. Military-approved. Wow. Okay. This can lead to arguments when actors and directors ad-lib or improvise outside of this approved screenplay. On set at Edwards Air Force Base, during the filming of Iron Man, there was an angry confrontation between Shrub and director Jon Favreau. Favreau wanted a military character to say the line, "People would kill themselves for the opportunities I have." But Scrub objected. Favreau argued that the line should remain in the film. And according to Strub, he's getting redder and redder in the face, and I'm getting just as annoyed. It was pretty awkward, and then he said angrily, "Well, how about they walk over hot coals?" I said fine. He was so surprised it was that easy. In the end, this compromised line did not appear in the finished film. Here we have one of several scenes for Iron Man filmed at Edwards Air Force Base. Okay. It seems that any reference to military suicide, even an offhand remark in a superhero action comedy adventure, is something the DOD's Hollywood office will not allow. It is understandably a sensitive and embarrassing topic for them when during some periods of the ever-expanding and increasingly futile war on terror, more U.S. servicemen have killed themselves than have died in combat. But why shouldn't a movie about a man who builds his own flying suit of armor not be able to include such jokes? Another one-line quip that was censored by the DOD came in the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies. When Bond is about to halo jump out of a military transport plane, they realize he's going to land in Vietnamese waters. In the original script, Bond's CIA sidekick jokes, quote, "You know what will happen. It will be war, and maybe this time we'll win." Well, that line was removed at the request of the DOD. I'll tell you, I will never go see another movie again. Alright? And I don't know. I pretty much am so absolutely disgusted with Hollywood and all the same actors and actresses that I've seen all my life. You know, every single one of them bores the shit out of me anyway. They do. Okay, so that was my opinion. Okay, so that line was removed. Strangely, Phil Strub denied that there was any support for Tomorrow Never Dies, while the preeminent scholar in the field, Lawrence Seward, only lists the DOD connection under unacknowledged cooperation. But the DOD are credited at the end of the film, and we obtained a copy of the production assistance agreement between the producers and the Pentagon. How much more do we have to go? I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to wrap this up here, guys, because I think you guys all got the point. Alright, so where was I? Okay. Vietnam is evidently another sore topic for the U.S. military, which also removed a reference to the war from the screenplay for Hulk, 2003. While the military are not credited at the end of the film on IMDb or in the DOD's own database of supported movies, we acquired a dossier from the U.S. Marine Corps detailing their radical changes to the script. This included making the laboratory where the Hulk is accidentally created into a non-military facility, making the director of the lab an ex-military character, and changing the code name of the military operation to capture the Hulk from Ranch Hand to Angry Man, because Ranch Hand was an actual real-life military operation. Oh, Ranch Hand is the name of a real military operation that saw the U.S. Air Force dump millions of gallons of pesticides and other poisons onto Vietnamese countryside, rendering millions of acres of farmland poisoned and infertile. Oh boy. So let's scroll down. Okay. The DOD's influence on popular culture can be found at all stages of production, granting them the same kind of power as a major studio executives. Agency would. The CIA and the NSA's influence on movie scripts. Despite having far fewer cinematic assets, the CIA has also been able to wield considerable influence on some of the projects they have supported or refused to support. There is no formal CIA script review process, but the agency's long-serving entertainment liaison officer, Chase Brandon, was able to insert himself into the early stages of the writing process of several TV and film productions. Anytime you watch a show or a movie, look for this man's name, Chase Brandon. Okay? Look for this. And I think I'm going to cut it here. Okay, we already know. Okay, Brandon did this most prominently on the spy thriller The Recruit, with Al Pacino, where a new agent is put through CIA training at the farm, an obvious vehicle for inducting the audience into that world and giving them a glimpse behind the curtain. Alrighty, so we know the CIA censors scripts, removing or changing sequences that they don't want the public to see, or vice versa, what they want to program the people to believe, like war is glamorous. Okay? Anyways, so be careful what you watch. Alright? Be careful what you watch. While very little is known about the NSA's activities in the entertainment industry, we did find indications that they are adopting similar tactics to the CIA and the DOD. So, the NSA is also involved in Hollyweird. Alright, everybody. That's it for now. I'll leave the link below so you can read. Oh, right here. Right here. I want to read this one part. The idea of using cinema to pin the blame for problems on an isolated rogue agent or bad apples, thus avoiding any notion of systemic, institutional, or criminal responsibility, is right out of the CIA/DOD's playbook. In all, we are looking at a vast, militarized propaganda apparatus operating throughout the screen entertainment industry in the United States. It is not quite an official censor, since decisions on scripts are made voluntarily by producers, but it represents a major and scarcely acknowledged pressure on the kind of narratives and images we see on the big and small screens. In societies already eager to use our hard power overseas, the shaping of our popular culture to promote a pro-war mindset must be taken seriously. And on that note, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch my video, and I do hope everybody has a wonderful day, and until next time, ta-ta, peace out.